last week I hung out with my friend and he asked me for advice with his 8th grade daughter in choosing an AAU team. So what I said personally, the most important thing for me when choosing an AAU team would be playing time. So, and specifically playing the right position, in this case a guard, and in a position where she's going to get a lot of touches. So for her, I thought the best situation would be one where she was able to play point guard. She was definitely a starter, and a team where she was probably the first or second best player on the team. And my reasons are, when you're choosing an AAU team, oftentimes, it's hard to decipher how much better a coach and team practices can really help to develop one's skills. So if you're depending on the practice because you're not getting much game time, during the spring and summer, it's hard to tell whether that practice is really going to help your skills develop. But if you're, the best player, the second best player on a team, and the ball is always in your hand and you're taking a majority of the shots, to me it lessens the impact of the coach to a certain extent, because you know that the player is always getting those game reps, and regardless of the effectiveness of the practices, those game reps should help a player to improve. Also, when the player is the best player on a team, coaches will typically allow that player to play through mistakes, more so than bench players, and then that often gives the players more opportunities. They stay in the game longer, and allows them to play with a little bit more freedom and a little more confidence, because they're not immediately taken out of the game for a mistake, like a role player might be. So that was my first thing. Then the second thing I said, make sure that it's a positive environment, preferably one where she's with her friends. Again, this is an 8th grader. She doesn't need to worry about exposure or playing for the best team, or any of these other kind of ideas that people have in their heads. To me, in 8th grade, it's someplace that's going to set the final foundation for her and prepare her to play at the high school level, as a player who's hoping to make the varsity as a freshman. And so, again, I thought playing time was most important. Playing in a supportive, positive environment, one with her friends, or where it's a good social atmosphere for her, instead of one maybe where it's a little bit more cutthroat or a little bit more competitive within the team. And again, at 8th grade, I'm not worried about how much they're traveling or what type of competition they're going to play in different tournaments, whether they're traveling all over the country or they're just playing in kind of local tournaments. So again, those are the things that I think are important, because it's hard to tell when you're signing up for a team how good or bad the coach is. It would take a couple practices, or maybe knowing somebody within the club to really have an idea of how well the coach coaches. So to me, the playing time is the big one. You're just not going to get better if you're not playing. And so that's the most important thing from a development standpoint, and then from an enjoyment standpoint, being in a positive environment and one where hopefully there's some friends or some kind of social camaraderie for the player.